I know you never hurt me, but that's okay. 'Cause once you hear my pipe in, you're gonna walk this way. Now I sound different, nothing quite.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition, to another installment of Hashtag Fade to Black. I'm your host, Donnell Alamonte Moores. Welcome. Now, right now, it's just me, but as the show goes on, hopefully I will have my panel to join me. Hopefully that y'all had a great Friday, great Saturday, great Sunday, and also a great Monday. Unfortunately, I had a thing called drill. Still in the military, still gotta play Army during the weekends and also during the weekdays. But other than that, we're here to talk about a topic that is very it's very hot, as you know, we can say, but I think hot is a very understatement. But here we are, and we're going to talk about guns in America, and we're going to give our take on what else should we do with owning a firearm and all that stuff. So we're going to get into that today. But first, we got to get into our opening statements as well as introduce our sponsor, Real Cheddar Boy Popcorn, the official partner, the official popcorn of Hashtag Fade to Black. They are also got a website. They got many different flavors. Popcorn is to die for. Black owned as well. So the website going to be strolling at the bottom. But y'all know what it is. It is time for the opening statements. And with that being said, since it's just me, let's get in. All right, my opening statement goes like this. Happy Pride Month. Say it with me. Happy Pride Month. Now, a lot of y'all are not going to be saying it, I know. But I'm mainly going to be talking to y'all. Because this opening statement is going to get real deep on what I'm about to say. Now, a lot of y'all are not down with the LGBTQ community. Definitely people that look like me, my people, are not down with it because they're getting their laws, they're getting their laws that they want it passed. People treat them as a hierarchy or whatever. They're highly favored. And what the word they got to do with me? I'm here to tell you, got everything to do with you. Everything. And it even goes deeper than the LGBTQ community and also supporting Pride. It's supporting anything. Because with somebody like myself that will support what is going on out there in the world, like, for example, what's going on in Ukraine. A lot of y'all say, what in the world do Ukraine got to do with us? Look what they do to those Africans over there. Why are you supporting Ukraine, giving them money to their families? And look at the countries in Africa. Look at what they're going through. Now, I won't be dismissed and say that what you're saying is valid, but also wrong at the same time. tell you why. When anything happened to us, let's use Tamir Rice. When that happened, did any one of those African countries that we talk about that's going through tyranny and whatever, what have you, supported us? Did they donate money to the Rice family? Did they have groups and awareness from their countries sending their support for the Rice family and what was going on? You see, it's easy to sit there and say, well, we need to support our brothers and sisters in Africa, but at the same time, when you have your brothers and sisters that come to Africa, don't see the things that we see here in America until it happens to them. Don't you think that's kind of, seem like you on a limb by yourself? See, we have to understand when we sit there and say, well, we should support each other and all that stuff and realize they're not giving you that same love back, you should question that. But then y'all will come back at me, but you support Ukraine. What have Ukraine supported with the black folks? First of all, I am a human being that cares for other people. And a lot of y'all started going against Ukraine with what's going on with the Africans over there and not understanding the protocols that goes on in situations like that, which I mentioned a long, long time ago when this first was happening, and people who didn't care about Ukraine started to care about what happened in Ukraine. Those Africans were getting taken out. And I say it probably was a protocol they didn't understand. Because when war happens, when something like that happens, they just don't say, bring us everybody. No, there's a protocol that they have to follow. So, and then also, I guarantee you, those saved Africans was probably saved. I don't believe in racism. I don't believe in all that stuff until that happened to them. To come to the middle of the road with each and every one of y'all. But I digress. We need to stop showing support. So much support. And I probably will get a lot of heat for this, but guess what? I'm here for it. And I'm going to sip my coffee on that one. Hold on. We need to stop showing support to people from a country or a country to have that people come over here, don't understand what they're getting themselves into, don't consider themselves a black, and understand that they don't see you as an equal. But now a lot of y'all gonna be saying, well, why you say happy Pride or ain't like, what do gays do for you and all that stuff? They're human beings. You may not agree with their lifestyle or agree that they was born that way, but that's who they are. They have every right to live as freely as a man with the Second Amendment right and an assault rifle. I said what I said. And then if we're going to go deeper into it, let's talk about the LGBTQ mannerisms. Where do you think they get that from? The smack of the mouth, the sassiness and all that stuff. Where do you think they get that from? If you say the black woman, you damn right. Now, y'all want to talk about them getting their rights and all that stuff. Let's go to the start. Who really pushed the needle for LGBTQ to have the civil rights that they have now. It was a black drag queen. But I mean, that's American history, right? Remember Benjamin Banneker? Remember the Boston Massacre? Who took the first bullet? A black man. LGBT rights, civil rights, human rights was a black drag queen. And her murder was never solved. I think her murder is a cold case. But see, a lot of y'all pro-blacks who sitting there thinking that freaking being homosexual or whatever is a mental disease don't understand that it was a black drag queen who was the forefront of the LGBTQ fight for their civil rights. And still to this day, the LGBTQ do have a big size of black LGBTQ people. That's why I support them. Y'all just think that the LGBTQ is not but white folks. You are dead wrong. Now, I know the LGBTQ they probably got problems within their community that has nothing to do with me, but I guarantee you, but not even guarantee you one thing. When you go into an LGBT community, which 9 times out of 10 of y'all never been, I see more unity within their community than I own at large. Going into restaurants, there's a place called Capitol Hill up here. You go up into their establishment, which they do got great food, by the way. You go up in there. Everybody, black, white, Latino, just think of any walks of life, sitting in a room, having conversations, just like you would have at a Starbucks. They do the same things that you do, but guess what? Their table's not all of that, just one race. It is mixed with every race. Talking politics, talking gossip, talking whatever. Because they're human damn beings. They are more integrated than the freaking society at large. But you question people like myself for supporting them, while you're supporting a country and people within the country that don't feel our sorrow, that don't see our racism, even though they're going through it down there in their country, but then come over here with their nose up in the air and don't consider themselves black. And I'm going to end it like this, and then I'm going to pass it on to my boy Billsy, who just popped in about 5 minutes ago. And I'm going to close it like this. Don't just support somebody because they look like this. Make sure they actually doing the work and actually caring for you, putting up and shutting up. That support is being shared. And with that, I yield the floor.
Damn, Darnell. Gosh, man. I think you woke up today and chose violence. You know what I mean? You're on it. From the topic that I understand that you are saying at this point in time. Man. I guess there's a lot of haters of the LGBTQ whatever in the black community. But Mr. Darnell, you have punched on a lot of good points on there. And you are correct. In that community, they have the rainbow for a reason. It is a lot of any and everybody that's in there. The thing is, at the bottom line of all of this, we're all human. And the thing is, I 100% agree with everything you have just said within the 5 minutes that I caught this. But I tell you, you're 100% right. Me and you, in general, have served with people who are gay. You know what I mean? And the thing is the downfall to a lot of this, and especially in the Black community, is that it's looked upon as a stigma. It's looked upon as a disease. It's looked upon as something that is not right or whatever else. But let me be 100% honest with you. I don't like that lifestyle. I really don't. But am I cool with people who deals with that lifestyle? Yeah, man. I grew up with a lot of gay people in my life, man. But the thing is, I'm not big on downgrading them because of what they choose to do. It's sad for me. It's possibly funny what I'm about to say, but it's for real. They do with their parts and their booty hole and everything like that. It's on them. As long as it's not mine that's being dealt with at this point in time or ever. You know what I mean? As long as their rights that are true on the lifestyle that I want to live in general, go right ahead. But I think the problem within this is the same thing that I talked about with one of my best friends from high school. I think racism or even prejudice stem from people who feel like their way of life and culture will fade away, will basically be forgotten about. And the thing is, we fear different cultures or different type of people in general because we don't understand it. But because you don't understand it, does not give us the right to go ahead and downgrade people and make them feel supposedly less than. This is a crazy, crazy topic, and we're living in some crazy times, man. But I'm gonna go ahead and stop right here because this talk gonna be interesting. All right? Out, man.
And like that, we are back, Jax. I am your host, Donnell Lamonte Boris, here with my dog, my bruh, Billingsley. How you doing, dog? How you doing?
What's up, brother? I'm just fresh out the gym, fresh off the pump, sitting here funky like a monkey.
Okay. All right.
Made sure I did everything a little early so I can go ahead and try to make it. You know what I mean? So Here I am.
So,
you are.
so I did told you that I wanted to talk about that post that you sent me, which in lines with what we were talking about, United States of Guns. Now, before I continue, on the last show, I did say that when we were talking about the 2 mass shootings from domestic terrorists,
Right.
I did say that this goes beyond guns. This goes beyond gun control.
Mm-hmm.
But by recommendation of a fellow watcher, of a fellow audience member, he said, "What about guns? You should talk about guns." And I was like, "Okay." I talked with my panel, and here we are. I said, "So let's talk about it." You know, I got my view on it. I believe that you got your view on it, Billsy, and I think this video ties in with it. Let me pull it up real quick. First of all, I gotta let it. I'm just gonna let it play for where I got it. So let me share it. Let me see, ladies. This is what happens when you are a producer of your own show. You doing all the coordination and all that.
All the hats.
Right. Many hats. And so let me see what those. All right, here we go. So this is the video. Can you see it? Let me see. I'm looking at it on my screen. Okay, cool.
Oh,
all right. Yeah. So let's get into it.
They can't hear it.
So when I watched that video, Billsley, I believe that was a stretch on what this gentleman was saying. I'm gonna explain why. So when he was saying, you know, if somebody kills somebody with a butcher knife, should you blame the company? And that right there, I said that's a stretch. Like I iterated on this show plenty of times. People always say, people with guns, guns don't kill people. People with guns kill people. But it does not take away that gun is dangerous. It does not take away that, yes, I gotta drop this car. I love my Explorer. I love Proud Mary. But she's a dangerous regardless. Because if I hit somebody with that car, somebody's going to injure or die, knock on wood. It's a dangerous piece of machinery. People said planes is safer than cars. But when that sucker wrecks, knock on wood, hopefully everybody's watching, you know, if you're taking off the air, you know, great vibes, all that to you. It's still dangerous when that sucker crashes. Because I never heard of anybody surviving in an airplane crash. So it does not negate that a weapon is dangerous. And also, I think it was a stretch for him to talk about the vaccines. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the vaccines. Don't worry. And Billsy, if you've been watching this show, I've been the only one that's been supporting the vaccine. Now, if you look up vaccine, you don't see cure. There's a lot of things, once again, cars, airplanes, that has side effects, or give it a different name, but all in all, AKA, is a side effect. Like this Coca-Cola right here. Got a lot of, you know, great tasting, great. But if you look at all the ingredients that it has up in it, I know that it's bad for me. Every pill, every medicine that anybody has to take has a side effect or something that's going to do something wrong to you. So for this gentleman to go up now, another thing I want to say, I am not the biggest Joe Biden supporter. I'm telling you, I'm not pushing that. But everything we do to the most dangerous of equipment that we use to just going up the stairs every day, it has a risk. Now, for him to say, companies, should it be the company's fault? And I say, you know what? I'm gonna meet him where he stands. I'm gonna meet him in the middle of the room. Let's talk about the company. So, because I remember Chris Rock's mom suing Walmart for, I think she had an accident or something like that. Or no, it wasn't Chris Rock's mom. That was in the Cracker Barrel. She sued Cracker Barrel for some reason. So you telling me she can't sue Cracker Barrel for what's happening in their establishment for whatever happened to her? I don't know what happened, but this is America, Jack. Like what happened to Tracy Morgan. It was Tracy Morgan. He had an accident in the parking lot of Walmart, and he sued Walmart, and he won. So for him to sit there and say, well, why you got to jeopardize the companies and all that stuff? Dude, you forgot this is America. You had a woman in the early 90s suing freaking McDonald's because she had a super hot ass coffee. I mean, before you make this video, homie, you got to look at history. You got to be like, oh, okay, maybe I should have done my research before doing this video. But I understood what he was saying. Like like I said, I like to go on the other side of the train. I guess his point was people have a responsibility in the things that they do. And I agree. But at the same time, if you got something that's going to cause harm to not only the person on the other side, or even to yourself, does not negate the dangers of that object or wherever you at, also have to take that responsibility too. And knowing that if you got a weapon, that's dangerous. And while Walmart and other establishments got security cameras so that when somebody wants to sue them for, let's just say me and you, Bills, and we go there, we go to Hooters, and for some reason I tripped on freaking one of those manhole covers, and I tripped, and I'm suing y'all. They got the camera footage right there, and I'm sitting there saying my legs all broken, all that stuff, knowing I just tripped and I just bust my ankle. That's it. Now they got the camera proof like it wasn't that bad. So we have to understand, once again, this is America. You can almost sue for anything. And it won't even be your fault. It's just, it can happen on your property and you at fault at it. But not going too far off the curve. In the words of weapons, a M16 held or even just laying flat on my desk is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Loaded or unloaded.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say it again. Loaded or unloaded. Because I think the thought of using a M16 or any weapon of that magnitude is dangerous. Just as dangerous as them actually grabbing a loaded magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is where this world has come to, where we treat our weapons as human beings and thinking that they got rights. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe that everybody and their mama should have a weapon. How the world is going. I believe that. I don't believe you should take anybody's weapons away. But to the point where you blame the person using the gun and not realizing how dangerous that weapon still is, that's a problem with this country. But then again, it's a reflection of how this country came to be in the first place. But I'm a hopefully Billsley, you good, man? Billsley having technical difficulties, but he comes back in. Hopefully he messages me. But as I'm saying this, that weapon. Oh, he just messaged me. Hold on real quick. Let me see. Oh, I just got a message from one of my boys. I'm sorry. Hopefully Billson comes back on. But like I was saying, I support people having a weapon. An AR, an M9, whatever. But before these mass shootings, I was against people going to places with M16s, assault rifles, guns that are way bigger than the freaking M9, a pistol or a Beretta. You should not be taking a shotgun just to get a burger from Burger King. You should not be carrying an AR to go clothes shopping at Target. At that time, that's what I'm saying. But now, with these mass shootings and all of it that's going on right now, like I said, I still believe that this is beyond weapons. This is America actually looking themselves in the mirror. But since we are talking about guns, this is my stance on guns. We should have more restrictions on weapons. Right now, I think they got the red flag laws that are coming out and more universal background checks. I just want this mess to stop, and hopefully Billsley's back in. He just popped in, so Billsley. Enough of me talking. I want to hear your stance on this, man. Like, what's your take?
My technology is acting crazy, so my apologies for that.
Oh, you good.
What I wanted to jump on when you were mentioning all that you were mentioning. Okay, first of all, what I forget old boy's name. When he was mentioning, when he kind of put the vaccines and the gun laws into comparison, the difference between vaccines and the gun rights and the McDonald's thing or whatever else, everything that you just mentioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
One became mandatory, and the other ones weren't. Just like the driving privilege, driving is a privilege, right? You still have to go ahead and go to a school or whatever else, depending on how you get it. You have to go. You have to be basically certified to be able to go ahead and drive, right? When you're going through certain things such as like you know, all kinds of whatever things to do things, you know, to work, such as nursing or whatever else, you get certified to do it. None of that stuff is like mandatory for you to do it. It's mandatory for you to get certified to do it, but it's not. Now, as for gun laws, it seems like you have to reach a certain type of criteria in order to go ahead and be able to shoot a gun in this country. But the problem with that is these are not the people that it's affecting. It's affecting the law-abiding citizens. It's not affecting the people that's getting the guns off the street. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You have people who will steal guns, have a load of them loaded up and being dropped off in certain neighborhoods with the gun with the numbers scraped off of it. Exactly. With the numbers scraped off of it, and then they go ahead and pow somebody for no reason. First of all, where did this guy, since we're talking about gun laws, where did this guy who was coward enough to go ahead and shoot up an elementary school, where did he get this gun from? Number one, that's the big deal, right? maybe it was one of his parents' gun, but at the same time, it goes right again with what I just said. It is not affecting the law-abiding citizens. It is affecting the law-abiding citizens. It is not affecting the people who are on the street getting these guns illegally. And I'm not, and by all means, don't get me wrong. Even though we're both in the military, I'm not a big gun person. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because I think I kind of got away from that once I got into a medical unit. And since we don't shoot all the time like I used to when I was in a line unit, it's not as fascinating for me, which I probably should have bought one myself, like I've seen somebody else do. And that's how they get really proficient at it. But that's what I'm saying. We are, I think when things like this happen, we're going too far with it. An incident like this happens, and then what Congress wants to do is do a full sweep. You know what I mean? You want to do a full sweep on the whole country and get everybody in line and on board with certain things. When the downfall to that is a clean sweep does not apply to everybody. It does not. I don't care how tragic this is, but the legislation that you're trying to push at this point in time does not match what needs to happen at this point. Let's look at let's look at what happens if this legislation that they're talking about goes through the way it does. Okay? Let's talk about Germany. Okay? And I think I know you know where I'm going with this, right? Let's talk about Germany, right? There was a dude named Hitler, had a funny mustache and shit, and always be throwing his hand up because I think it was itching all the time. But
I get ready to say
yeah. He had problems with his arm and stuff. But the thing is, he felt that guns should have been taken away from their citizens. For what? To weaken the public in order to go ahead and do what he needed to do. Let's go ahead and switch from Germany and go to China, right? Now, pre-communist China, right? All of a sudden, it was a dude named Mao who came from the gutter, right? And became the supreme leader. And what did he do? He did the same thing. He took the guns from the people and then turned them very guns that he took from the people and shot them with it. You see what I'm saying? So the main thing is, I think, why certain people are in an uproar about this is because of what could possibly happen by doing that, by taking guns from people. Listen, as messed up as this country is or whatever else, at times, it has certain laws that are beneficial to the citizens. I'm not going to say some of the other stuff because I don't want your show to be monetized. But I will say, within that very Constitution, they do talk about the right of bearing arms. Right? And I'm not going to go ahead and say, I am a lyrical theorist and I know everything about that law. No, I do not. I do not. But I do know that law says that I have the right to bear arms and defend myself. Even though sometimes when you use it and you have leather jackets and a black beret on, they're going to go ahead and shoot you up until there's no bullets left. But that was their constitutional right, but they took it away from them by force. But
Bills, you're right. You missed you said a part that I forgot about, and that's the black market. It's funny why I call it the black market, but yeah,
so they blame everything on Negroes, even though the government support it. Anyway.
Right, you're right, and so I believe we on the same sheet of music, but we play different instruments, and I agree with majority. I agree with majority of the things you say, because when you was talking about how guns are mysteriously placed in areas, we talk about areas like Chicago. I actually watched a YouTube video a long time ago where Chicago OG got interviewed, and he literally stated that one thing that to me, people want to say Chicago is so violent and all that stuff, but nobody don't ask why it's so violent. They just think it's just gangs. No, it's not gangs. They are literally dropping off crates of weapons of all types of guns you can think of in certain communities, good black communities, and they just dropping them off. And you got kids, their mamas, everybody going picking up these guns and use them on each other. And they said there's also a train, a railroad that goes through the city, and mysteriously these trains stop in these communities where they're freaking we didn't call them the things that they ship. There's I can't even think of a name, but they will be mysteriously open where they go and they get more guns, more ammunition. And these are one of the things that they're not talking about. They say Chicago is violent. Chicago is violent.
Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100. Not only Chicago, certain parts of California, you know which one that I'm talking about. Certain parts in different cities, such as Detroit, possibly even DC, possibly even in certain in these other parts. And let's not talk about just guns. At one point in time, how do you get Colombian cocaine across the border? I mean,
or they on this and they on the government payroll.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I mean, the way I look at it is like this: how does the real Rick Ross, okay, go ahead, serve time, and get out? Yo, Freeway Ricky was the guy who was transporting all this stuff, making millions of dollars a day. A day.
Preach.
And you mean to tell me somehow he gets out of jail after all of the pandemic of craziness that he helped within this country? And please do not get me wrong by me saying this. For me to knock a man's hustle and how to go ahead and get through in this world within a country that tells you if you ain't rich, you ain't shit, I got it. I got it.
I agree.
I'm pretty sure he lived a harder life than I did before this opportunity came up. And let's go ahead and take it a step further. You had the alphabet people come up to him to help him out in this situation. He had an agent that helped him out, which is probably why he's out of jail now, because how else would he get out of jail and have all the help that he has? That's insanity. He's hailed as a hero, but he was at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So my whole point, even though I went left with that, but the main thing is these guns and everything that legislation is trying to be thrown upon this country is bogus. All of it is bogus, because even the people that are trying to go ahead and throw this legislation out here, they know it's a lie. They know it's a lie. So all you're doing is bring the people into an uproar. There's something that has to be done with this tragedy. And believe me, it is a tragedy. You come through and you're talking about shooting up some elementary school kids and everything. And let's not talk about the police that did not go in there for about 75 minutes?
40 minutes, dog. 40 minutes.
40 minutes? 40 minutes.
And not to forget about freaking Buffalo, where they just, hey, come on, let's get you in the car.
No, let me get to that in a second.
Oh, okay, all right, go ahead.
But the thing is, it took 40 minutes before the police or whoever of authority to come in and take that over. How do I know that? Because there was a mom who said, fuck you. I'm going in there and getting both of my kids no matter what happens. And it's on my own authority. And then all of a sudden, she was asking, why are you guys not in there? Talking about they're not trained for that. She's like, fuck training. I'm going in there and get my kids. And they're all three alive up in there because she didn't give a fuck. She went in there and braver than all those other people who were trained with badges, who's possibly willing and ready to shoot down Tookie and Ray Ray if they have a wallet in their hand that they're taking out of their hand and say, "Oh, this motherfucker got a gun, shoot him." That's what I'm saying. So the thing is, she went in there, got both of her kids, and lived to tell the tale on the news. Now let's go to Buffalo. Okay, so if I go ahead and say something stupid on this thing right here, the people are watching me, right? They're watching all kinds of stuff. This is due to George W. Bush's Patriot Act, right? The Patriot Act allows you to go ahead and enter any type of phone conversation, something like this, or whatever else. If they hear something that is of dangerous means to possibly hurt the country or the surroundings where I'm at, they are able to go ahead and infiltrate where I am, give me questions and all this other stuff to ensure that I'm not being a home terrorist. Well, you have this gentleman, and I use that term very loosely, who went online and typed out what his plan was. He was planning to go ahead, take down some black people because he felt a certain type of way about black people. I forget the whole story of what his main reasons were, but he put it out online. Everybody knew his plan. Then he takes this automatic gun, goes to a shopping store, and commenced to shooting every black person he saw in that store. And then there was a camera on him, showing him shooting certain people. He get to a white guy. White guy's like, "Oh my gosh, please don't do it." He's like, "I'm sorry." And then he kept moving, which means that was your goal. Your goal was to kill black people. And you not only kill black, you kill old black people. That was craziness. But yet and still, this man comes out not only alive, but they handcuff him and then all of a sudden take him on his merry way to go to jail. Which is sad, because I'm pretty sure, and this is messed up of me to say, but it's the truth. I'm pretty sure if he was a Negro, he would have been dead on sight. On sight. Like that boy Shaft said, Samuel Jackson, when he played Shaft, "I was fearing for my life. He had a weapon. I needed to protect myself. So therefore, I'm going to shoot this Mickey Ficky right now because I want to go home to dinner with my wife and kids," which you don't hear about because you cheat on them anyway. But anyway, let me digress. You know that, boy, I'm telling you, man. Dude, but it's crazy as I'm making this sound. It's funny, but it's sad at the same time.
Yes.
How are you going? I mean, they're wondering why there is a big divide within this country, because you're treating certain people in a privileged manner that everybody wants to deny, but you're treating certain people with in a privileged manner than you would with other people. Now, let's say I was a cop, right? And I go to a certain neighborhood, a black neighborhood, and I treat them like they treated that dude in Buffalo. Do you not believe that my possible badge would be revoked? They'd be like, "Dude, y'all need to suspend this son of a bitch because he's not serving justice." What is justice? Oh, gun this son of a bitch down on sight, right? But I'm treating him like you treated this dude in Buffalo. Like you treated this dude in this elementary school who killed innocent children. But because he wasn't black, you didn't infiltrate that building and let innocent kids get messed up. And let's take it a step further with that jabroni. That is one of the biggest cowards that has ever lived. Why am I saying that? Because he was pissed off at other people making fun of him because he was wearing clothes and his family was poor. Are you serious? Negro, he wasn't a Negro, but Negro, you had an iPhone taking pictures of yourself. Where's this money going? You was taking pictures of yourself in dresses and all this other stuff. I don't have a problem with that. But the problem I do have is apparently you had a problem with kids at your high school. You couldn't face them with that. Nah, you go to some kids who had nothing to do with this. It would almost, yeah, it would be a tragedy still. It would be almost more respectable if you went to that very school and shot up the people that you got problems with. Now, that's still a coward move because the thing of it is, you took an automatic gun into a school, period, and start shooting people. I understand about bullying. I was bullied as a kid. If anybody that knew me that's on here that knew me from my neighborhood, I was bullied as a kid. That's why I'm as big as I am right now, because I got tired of that shit. Now, all of it is an armor for me. And now people look at me as dangerous and all this other shit. Fuck you. I'll be.
Tell it, Billy. Tell it.
I'll be that. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, I didn't go ahead and shoot up a school. First of all, you know, my dad had a shotgun in the house, but I'm just saying, I knew not to touch that. He would kill me. But I'm saying that's what I'm saying. You can't give cats a pass when stuff like this happened. What was the first thing they said when they found him after he shot himself and all this other stuff? Oh, you know, he was psychologically incapable.
Mental health.
You know, he had this mental health thing going on. Yeah. But if he's darker, he's a menace to society. He's a super predator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. But see, that's what pissed me off about this whole thing. It's not saying that justice shouldn't be served. Justice should be served, but it should be served to everybody that does stuff like this. You talking about making our nation safer, our neighborhood safer and everything, then stop perpetuating the very things that's not making them safer. You're trying to sweep legislation across the country over one tragedy, right? One tragedy. But it's election time, right? It's election time. Am I not right? November is going to be election time.
November is fastly approaching because we are already in the middle. Well, this is the first week of June. It already feel like the middle. Right.
And everybody's trying to go ahead and push this through Congress and everything to show that they care. No, Mickey Fickies. You're trying to save your seats. You're trying to save face. Your jobs.
But I do say this. I do say this on the contrary about the Congress men and women. I think one of them got it right, where he says, "What are we doing here?" Which goes to the crowd what you're saying. What are we doing here? We've been put here. I'm paraphrasing what he said in the speech. We've been put here. We've been elected to these seats to uphold the standards and to pass laws. But we still continue to have these same problems happening. What are we doing? And now I'm gonna say this, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of backlash, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry that you didn't pay attention to Civics 101. I'm about to tell you this. Only thing that the current president can do is do an executive order, and I believe he did an executive order. I think it was for the red flag law. No, it was for that the gun reform bill, I think. I don't know, but I know he did an executive order. But here's the problem with the executive order. The Republicans can sue and challenge that executive order.
Sue?
Yeah, they can sue. Yeah, they can sue him for that. They can challenge that executive order. Executive order is just something how can I put it? It's like a policy. It's like something that can happen now, but the Republicans can challenge it. They can sue the president for their executive order. And
I'm
I'm
gonna tell you this. You know who he needs to talk to in order to be able to go ahead and get through them loopholes of executive orders and stuff like that? There's only one president that I know in the time that I have lived that have taken an executive order and perfected it like an artist. I mean, this guy was like Picasso, Michelangelo when it came to executive order. And that's G.W. Bush. George W.H. Bush Jr. Man, executive order like a draw 4 in an Uno game and get over on it. I was like, how is he doing this? He had an executive order every other week. And I was like, who is he? How nobody's challenging this. Nobody's challenging this.
Nope.
You know,
because
it's just like that 9/11 thing. If you went against GW during that time period, you was a terrorist.
Oh, don't worry. I was one of them. I was in rural Virginia, Gloucester, Virginia, and I was against the war. Boy, they was looking at me differently, but I didn't give a damn. I sure did tell him. I said I don't agree with him. I still don't like George W. Bush. I can't stand him. But he had power. And not to mention, you did have a very powerful vice president, too, as well. I think he's the most powerful vice president that we probably never, ever going to see ever again, wielding that much power.
Dick Cheney was the equivalent of what Palpatine was in Star Wars.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
He was
that man had more power. I mean, you might as well call him the Secretary of State because he had that power too. It's like everything he was right. Dick Cheney was like this. You know how things supposed to, get to the president? If they go through Dick Cheney first and get to the president. And the things that he think that he needs to know is not getting to the president. It's going to stay with him. But yeah, George W. Bush perfected the executive order. And then also you got to think about it. Majority of the freaking Congress was Republican. It was a I think it was a super majority of Republicans under George W. Bush where they were just running shit. So yeah, they're not going to challenge him. And not to mention the Bush, that last name having Bush had a lot of power to it. And then also you have Cheney too as well. It was a lot of power. But you're so right about the executive orders. But the thing is, yes, he could do. The current president can do an executive order, but it's going to get challenged. It's really going to get challenged. But go ahead.
Reason why the name Bush had a lot of power because he can make people with the last name Kennedys disappear. But I digress. Anyway,
I looked at a documentary on that. You are so is right. But moving on. Moving on. So with that being said, for me, because a lot of people saying, well, now y'all need to vote. Y'all need to vote. And I must say this. That's part. Listen to me. That's part. Yep. Just because you got a slice of pizza does not mean that's the whole pizza. You just got a slice. This is what the solution. Now, let me go with the congressmen and women first before I go to us regular common folk. Y'all should be calling y'all congressmen and women right now. Email them, call them on a cell phone, get a freaking meeting to sit down with them. Or if they don't, you send your happy ass up there and make sure you make your presence known. And tell them not only about gun reform, but also the black market, because they don't be talking too much about that. They're even in these like gun shows where they got the loopholes where you can buy a gun right then and there. And
I got a question to ask you. Mm-hmm. Since you said that, you said that, right? I got a question to ask you. Why would I deal with a certain organization that's bad for the country, but it's making me money?
Yeah, that's a good ass question.
I mean, think about it. I will give a prime example. Even though I jokingly said these guys' name, right? The Kennedys. How did they get their money? The black market. It was the black market. Now you can say it seems like anybody in this country can say any incriminating thing about John Kennedy or Bobby Kennedy or even Ted, and none of them will say anything. Why? Because they're protecting their money. They're protecting their money regardless of the fact. But at the same time, they know that it was the black market that put them on the map.
Yeah.
And at the same, and that same, say it's a saying that a lot of people have quoted for many years: "You live by the sword, you die by the sword." And that's what, and I really believe that's what happened to Jack Kennedy. It's like this: you go ahead and you use different means to ensure that your son becomes president, and all of a sudden, you make all these promises to these dudes, and then you renege on them. And the crazy thing is, they're like, "Oh, you think you can't be touched? Katow." And there you are. You got touched more than once, and by one and more gun. Because I don't care. They try to say it was that one dude with the line. Whatever. Okay, not in elementary school. I know a little more about that at this point in time, but that's bull crap. It was several gunmen that got that guy. There's not. I mean, I'm telling you, Marines will go ahead and go behind and say, Jay, what's his name? What was his supposedly assassin's name that they set up? He will say that since he was a Marine, he was able to make that.
I know who you're talking about.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Oswald, yeah.
So since he was a Marine, he was able to make that shot. I literally argued with a Marine with that. I was like, dude, I know you guys eat crayons and everything like that, but it doesn't make. But I think some of them damn things have made you delusional in believing that this could go ahead and happen. The magic bullet theory, they reenacted it. Really, mofo?
Yeah.
Really? Get out of here with that bull crap, man.
If you actually watch the video, you know what the last shot is?
Mm-hmm.
If you actually see the guy turned around and you see a reflection out of his hand, the bullet came his head exploded.
Thank you.
It exploded back that way. I literally had to watch that video back and forth, and that right building camera frozen. That's a great video. My reaction exactly. And hey, gentlemen, with that, we're gonna take a commercial break, and we will be right back. Look at that. That's nice.
Get your Teddy boy.
Greetings. I am Professor Anita M. Jope, the Executive Director of the African Roots and Heritage Foundation, and I am here in spirit with you with the Southern region in the celebration of African Languages Week. We have a very good program designed for you, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. And remember this one thing: If you are an African American or an African that was born in the diaspora that was taken from their homeland, remember this one thing. During African Languages Week, we want you to reach out and learn an African language. And if you are an African born on African soil, we want you to speak your native language, because when you speak your native language, we get to hear the voices of our ancestors. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for making African Languages Week a total success. Kwaheri ya kukaona. Goodbye until we meet again.
And like that, we are back. Hopefully, Billingsley have everything situated. Battle, just let me know when you're ready. Give me a thumbs up when you pop on back in. Once again, the show is presented by Cheddar Boy Popcorn. The website is strolling at the bottom. They got 16 different flavors. Check them out. Great popcorn, the greatest popcorn you ever going to have, even the ones from the Dollar Tree. Put it on everything. Check them out. RealChatboyPopcorn.com. They do deliver. Take that back. If you're local, they do deliveries. Yes, and they do ship as well. Now, back to the task at hand. So, Billingsley, to sum up what he was talking about, I forgot all about the black market and the loopholes dealing with weapons. And so, which leads to this. Like I said, we all should get the numbers of our congressmen, congresswomen. If your community or your state is plagued with these tragedies of gun violence, you need to reach out to your congressmen and women. And also for those who want to protect their rights to having a firearm, you should be doing the same too. But I think we all can agree that the loophole, other than reform on the surface itself, but stopping the black market of weapons being sold, Congress laws had to go deeper than that. Deeper than gun reform or background checks. Where are these weapons coming from? If we're going to have a war on drugs, which let's be for real, that the government played a single hand of getting it into black and brown communities, mainly black communities, we should have a war on the sales of guns. I think it's about time that we do that. It's about time that we hammer on these loopholes that are happening at these gun shows to figure out who are shipping these weapons to these predominantly black and brown communities and just leaving crates of weapons for them to use on each other. We have to understand that this is not about taking away your guns or just putting some laws up there where eventually a year or 2 years down the road it's not going to mean a damn thing. For us to have actual change, we have to actually go deeper into the problem, not just look at it on the surface. We have to get to the root cause. And I think when people think you go to the root cause, you just stop at the ground level. That's not getting to the root of things or just digging just a little bit. No, you got to get your hands dirty. But people think it stops right there. No, you have to get dirty. You have to get filthy all over to get to the root of any problem in this world to understand, how did this happen? How did we get here? We just can't look at now. We have to look at why. Why we here. And then once we get our why, then we go to the how. How do we fix it from here? And Billingsley is back.
Dude.
Billingsley, your face was priceless. I had to stay there for a little bit, but I went to commercial. I have respect for you.
My phone keeps overheating. I don't even understand why. It has not happened any other time period except for today. So I think we dropping a lot of bombs right now.
I'm
Cats
saying,
messing with me. So
right. but what I was saying, Bills, is like time what we both were saying together, because I forgot about the black market.
Oh yeah.
This is, like I said, this is a time where, since this is election season, I mean, well, the runoffs and the elections for November.
Yeah.
This is where, like I said, voting is part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to deal with your Congress members right now and calling them. And also for the ones that want to keep the right to bear arms, they should be calling too. Everybody should be calling their Congress member, be like, look, loophole for the people who want to get government reform. Government reform is just the surface. You got to go deeper in that. You have to see what is the black market going, what's going on? Where's the black market? What big time companies are using these black markets to sell their weapons or secretly selling them on the streets? Who are leaving these weapons in these predominantly black and Latino communities that were once flourishing communities, great communities live in? Now all of a sudden they turn to, as they call it, Chirac in Chicago, and they could have other different types of names. And for the right to bear arms people should be calling to them saying, look, we don't want you. It's beyond taking our guns. I don't believe in that taking the guns shit. I don't want you to ban assault rifles.
Right.
I'm using my assault rifles just to go to a range, or if I got my own land, that I have the right to shoot it without somebody telling me I can't use it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't with any of these laws. Like, you can do a background check, you can do gun reform, but I do not want you to put laws on me to hinder me to get another weapon. Because you got people that are connoisseurs. Like, for example, lately I became a cigar connoisseur, even though I haven't bought a cigar in a while because I've been busy at work, and you know how it is, though.
Right.
So, and cigars are bad for me. So I enjoy it in a casual way. You know, when I have time, and, you know, if I feel I want to relax a little bit, I give me a stogie.
But it's your choice to do it, right?
Right. And me to have, yeah, you're right, because I'm soon about to move with my girlfriend, so I see what you're saying. And me have some nice smooth bourbon or some smooth whiskey. Whatever floats my boat for that night or for that day.
Of course. Yeah.
But if they come up with the law saying, well, we want to ban this certain type of cigar, I'm going to take offense to that. I'm going to be like, look, yes, I understand what you want to do with cigars. You're saying that cigars are bad for you, but don't ban this certain cigar because people don't like the smell of it. I'm just using that as an example. I understand where people are coming from that don't want guns. I get that. But it should not affect the people that already have it. But see, that's the downfall of it. And that's why on this show, I keep it 100. I keep it down the middle as much as I can on this show as a host, because I won't say every side, but when somebody has a difference of views, they have a right, if it's reasonable, got common sense, critical thinking, and knowledge behind it, they have every right to be heard. Because I still go by that philosophy of not everybody should sit at the table.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong about that. Because
why is that?
No, because the thing is, I'm not saying that you're. I shouldn't say that you're wrong. Common sense says you're right, but those rights, even for the goofy people to go ahead and be heard, is for them too. I'm not saying that it's right, but at least they need to be heard. And then, just like in the Army, how a drill sergeant say to a private, man, that's a good idea, private, but you still need to push. Either way, you know what I'm saying? You give them a voice, because at the same time, sometimes even out of idiots, you will get good ideas from. But at the same time, if you even shut them out, it's going to be a problem. Now, I will agree with you on this. If they are disrupting the progress that needs to happen within for the whole, then you need to go. You need to go.
Yeah,
You know?
and now on that point, I agree with you on. That's where we at. That's where we at.
Yeah.
Because to me, I'm like this, and I believe that there's no such thing as a bad idea. I just think maybe that idea wasn't good for it at the time. But hold what you got.
Right.
But
right.
yeah, but the issue with this country nowadays, it seems like everybody got something to say at the table. And I understand that point that you was making, because yes, in the military, yeah, you know, Joe stuff, you right. But keep pushing.
I'm just doing that.
Yeah, I got you. And keep pushing. But my issue is this. When you start to have everybody coming to a table and saying what they want, guess what you have? People talking over people. People
Chaos.
talking over each other. You have all that. And so this is why, and this ties in with who y'all gonna vote for or who you want to be an incumbent and stay in your seats. This is where you vet your politicians. This is where we vet people in the difference of views. Like, okay, I'm not saying that you have to agree with everything that, you know, with everything I'm saying, or me have to agree with everything you're saying. We got to agree on like the basis points. Like, you may like Pepsi. You know me, I love Coca-Cola.
Right.
We both hate our brands, but guess what? Number one, we like soda. We like sweetness. We both hate RCs, and Dr. Pepper shouldn't even be in the conversation. So guess what? We're both at the table now.
Right.
You know what? And that's a vetting that everybody should do when it comes to not just having conversations, but sitting at a table where those issues turn into everyday agendas, which lead to policy changes that leads to changing the laws or amending laws. You know, and so we get that confused where, oh yeah, this is just a conversation that's gonna lead to no, Jack, no. It's, you know, we can talk about, you know, we can cook and what everybody's cooking. This is just us discussing who's gonna do what. We over here, as my boy will always say, we over here eating on Alpo, but you over here eating on some goddamn pedigree. What you doing, sir? What you doing? You know, you gotta be on the same page. We don't have to agree, but we gotta agree at least on the basics.
Oh yeah.
You know, if me and Bill, if we're gonna work out, we have to be on the same basis of like, okay, we're gonna do a pre-workout, check. We're gonna do like a warm-up, you know, just warm up without no weights, check. But then you probably gonna work on your arms, but I'm gonna work on my back. Cool.
That's it. You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I love it because it was a first sergeant who this is like last week. So apparently they want me to work at the company because I'm retiring soon. I'll be retired next year, right?
Oh, okay.
And so all of a sudden this guy was talking about, so, you know, you want to work out together and everything. And naturally, mind you, when people say they want to work out with me, my mouth kind of salivate because I was like, dude, oh shit, you want to do this? This is what you want to do. I was like, yeah. And so naturally I had to keep my composure. I was like, yeah, that's cool. He's like, I know some people don't like when other people come through and work out with them. I was like, I don't, but I'll make an exception for you. That's good.
Oh shit.
So when I explained it to him what I do, he was like, well, that sounds good. You know what I mean? And everything like that. He has not come since. So the thing is, because the way I looked at it was like this. Oh, you want this? Okay, all right. I'll make it happen. But you're going to suffer. There you go.
All right.
But my deal in that is not to make people suffer. It's just, you got to understand, there's a criteria to this. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is I'm at my level because of what's helpful to me. Now you're coming in here. It might sound like it's being offensive that you're trying to intrude on that. No, because I know you're not at that level at that point in time. Now, if I'm trying to hurt you, that's messed up. But if you can't keep up, okay, You asked for this, okay? So that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. I'm sorry, but anyway,
No, I got you.
But there. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm not built the way I am because it's magic. It was a process. I'm like,
Right.
so I'm 46, right? So I've been doing this since I was 14. You know what I mean? So it's not like some. I just woke up and was like, "Yay, here I am." No, fuck that. It can't be paid. And I was like, if you want this, you getting paid. I lied.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I need to hit the damn gym, hit the weights my damn self. But I believe, Billsley, that we're on the same wavelength.
Oh yeah.
Once again, I'm happy that you brought up the black market. I totally forgot about
But
that.
see, but that's what a lot of people do. That's what I mean. Not just you, but this is America as a whole, because we're always sold on the American dream. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying that is not possible. That's neither here nor there. Everybody is sold on the American dream, and that is a smoke bomb for what's really happening. You're telling me as a politician you need to do this, that, and the other in order to make stuff happen. When you throw the smoke bomb, behind that smoke bomb, you're doing A, B, and C. Totally different than what you just told us.
Right.
But yet still, the American dream is real from the way you're talking about it. So I was like, okay, that's just like finding out some of your heroes took steroids. And then you're thinking, only thing they're telling you is, man, you got to practice, hard work, all this other stuff. And I'm not saying that it doesn't take that, because that is necessary. You have to have a certain amount of talent in order to go ahead and even get to that level. Now, this juice is going to take you a little further. Not much, but a little further than what you were already doing. And with that little further, dude, you're skyrocketing. Now your balls are shrinking. But the thing is,
Not satisfying that woman.
because that $1 million, the millions of dollars is making that go away. It's okay. It's all right. Because all you need is a shot. That's neither here nor there. But anyway, that you're hooking it up. You know what I mean? But yeah, tell the kids, work hard. Work hard.
Yeah.
Drink your milk. Drink your milk, man. And
Eat your vitamins.
You'll make it, man. You'll make it. Yeah. Make it to the
we-
little leagues, because you're going to the minors, motherfucker. You ain't going to the majors. You going
Yo,
to
my
the minors.
goodness. Everybody's heart was broken when they found out that Hulk Hogan took steroids. I'm not
Listen,
gonna lie.
Listen, this is horrible. This is horrible with me, right? So I believed that guy for the longest. Now, mind you, to this day, that them 4 sayings they had, training, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and believing in yourself. Now, I done lived that for years. I didn't realize I was living that until I was talking to my son one day about it. And I was like, dude, I've been living that forever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I thought about it. I was like, as messed up as his life was, as we eventually found out, even though he was that type of guy, he kept a lot of kids on the right track. And I'm one of them. So even though in hindsight that it was fucked up, to this day, I'm living like that. Not the fucked up way, but the shit that he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, man, okay. So the craziness, the advertisement, the Vince McMahon being Barnum Bailey when he's introducing all this other stuff, it impacted me in such a way that I'm living my life in a way that's possibly in certain ways envious to some people, because I've seen the shadiness on that one. But regardless of the fact, I'm in better shape than most of the people that are my age or even older. And I grew up with these son of a bitches, man. And they're like, oh shit, man, this is crazy. I feel whatever. I was like, give 2 fucks. All you got to do is be consistent. But I digress.
Got you. So basically, to sum up what we're saying, that we encourage you, if you're for guns, or for gun reform, or maybe for both,
Right.
we encourage you to, damn it, contact your Congress member and tell them to stop the black market, to push, if they're going to push gun reform and push more background checks, to stop the black market. Because I think this is where the heart is of what's been going on with these mass murders and all that stuff. Also, teach gun safety. I think we forgot to mention that. Gun safety, gun safety, gun safety. And if you know that for my people who have weapons, who have that have guns, y'all are not bad people. Black, white, and indifferent. I want to make that clear. You are not the bad guy. You are not the domestic terrorist. Because just like me as a cigar connoisseur, there are people, and I met them before, that are guns connoisseurs. They got guns back from the colonial times. I'm like, dude, how the freak? That still works. Show, seen their guns, got every guns to a freaking AK, to the freaking, what's my favorite? To the Tommy gun. Tommy gun's my all-time favorite.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie. If I find a Tommy gun, I am straight getting that. And that's gonna be my first collector's item, even though my girlfriend is not a weapons fan, but still. But I digress. Right, I gotta negotiate. So, but other than that, y'all are not bad guys. Y'all not bad people. I want to push it out there, as well as to the people that want gun reform. Y'all not bad people neither. You just want a safer environment, not only just for yourself and for your community, but mainly for your kids, and you have a right to that. But one thing that we can come in the middle on is this. We don't want nobody's freedom infringed on what we believe that this country should be and what this Congress should do. So that's why it's on each and every one of you to contact your congressmen or women. I don't care if you don't like them or they did not the party that you affiliate with. Who cares? They owe you the service that you put them there, or even if you didn't. They represent you. Call them, email them, go to their freaking office. They do got a local, well, not a local office, but they do got an office in their district that they're representing. Get a meeting or go to Washington. Let your voice be heard. And if they don't want to listen to you, guess what? As my colleague just said, November is coming. In the words of that woman, I'm paraphrasing from Lean On Me, that wanted to get Mr. Clark out of his job. If you don't do what you told, if you don't push him out, or we're gonna vote you out. And y'all need to have that same exact demeanor as that woman did. Each and every one of you. Yep. So with that being said, we're gonna go to the final thought. I need to go check my phone because my phone's going crazy. And Billsley, my friend, my bruh, you are at the first oh well, hold on. Let me get everything said already. I'm forgetting what I'm doing. But other than that, we're going to the final thought. Billsley, you are first at that.
All right, my people. Hopefully this don't blank out because I think my phone is still overheating. But at the same time, as for my final thought on this, my hope is that the bottom line in all of this is that we're all Americans, and that we all are given certain rights to go ahead and be basically whoever we want to be. This is one of the most freest countries in the world. It's just like I was looking at a YouTube post that basically said that you have people giving their lives to try to come here and use the opportunities that are here in order to make way of a living here. With that being said, like Donnell had mentioned earlier, the black market is not being talked about. It is. And my fear in that is because there are people who are benefiting from this. regardless of what's being said or whatever else. The hope is not certain politicians. I believe there is. But at the same time, my hope is that we can all come together as a nation and fight against this. A lot of people will love to blame the president for a lot of these things that are happening. And I'm not saying that I'm for or against. I can't really say since I'm a soldier, so I might as well say I'm for, because just keeping my job for the moment. But at the same time, that's a hard job to have. That is a really hard job to have, because the thing is, when you're sitting in that seat, you have a lot coming to you. It's a lot that you have to deal with. There's a lot of things that we as American people are not seeing. As a president, I can make all types of promises to the American people, but at the same time, the moment I get elected and sit behind that chair and see what the full picture is, I might have to renegotiate at that point or renege on certain things that I need to go ahead and make happen. But at the same time, you got to understand we have to deal with things at a local level. The moment you start dealing with things at a local level, you can increase at a higher level by following these people at their higher level. The problem is we don't have enough unity within this country in order to go ahead and make that happen, because everyone has selfish agendas that they're going for. It's just like for any president that get elected, their allegiance is not to the American people. Their allegiance is to the people that got them elected, with the fundraisers and how much money they donated to their campaign and all of these different things. So we as people need to go ahead and deal with Congress people or local politicians at a local level in order to make sure that when they get to that point, that we have something at the table to negotiate with. Unlike a lot of these people at this point in time don't really care. I mean, all we do is look for every 4 years and have this person supposedly do magic for everybody. I mean, like for an example, look at Obama's administration. When he came in for the 8 years, everybody expected him to go ahead and reverse racism, balance the budget, do all these wonderful, amazing things. But the sad part is when you have a country that's divided and not willing to go ahead and give you a chance in the position that you're in, you can only do so much, even at that level. So we got to go ahead and redo this thing called the election process and figure ourselves out as Americans, get an agenda that's helpful for all instead of just for a few people, and make it happen. Because without that, we're all going to be in confusion for many years to come if we don't get this together. Those are my final thoughts. Back to you, my boy. Cool.
Thank you, Mr. Bills. It's always a pleasure with your comments and having your presence on this show and giving your take. Billsy really did crush the gun part of the whole entire subject of the show. So I'm just going to take it to the voting booth. November. Before we know it, it's going to be here. And right now, as you can hear names like, I'm going to throw names out like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Nancy Pelosi. You're hearing these names because they're up for re-election in their districts. And it's already ramping up and it's everything is picking up. And so before all these mass shootings, it was all about the Roe v. Wade being overturned. And people were saying, who does better benefit? Because before this controversy came out, it was Republicans historically, who's the opposing party that takes the White House, is the ones that always take over Congress. And before then, the Republicans were winning. But after the Roe v. Wade doctrine, or whatever you want to call it, came out, that the freaking courts was trying to overturn Roe v. Wade, it went on to the Democrats' favor. But I have not heard anything about the polls about the mass shootings or anything like that. But as you, as a voter, no matter if you're a progressive, liberal, conservative, libertarian, or in the middle, you got a decision to make. Well, I won't say decision. This is one of your things that you should be looking at come November. There is no longer looking into your values. There's no longer of like which party that they affiliate with. This is a time where now you got to look beyond yourself. Is my kids safe? It's no longer if I'm safe. It's my kids are safe. Because this went from the streets straight to the schools. Just like that. Where we all thought that Columbine and what happened to Virginia Tech were just history. Or what happened at Sandy Hook was history. It came in full circle. Because now we're not only just talking about schools, now we're talking about grocery shopping, grocery stores. So this is something else y'all gonna have to think about when y'all vet your politician, no matter Democrat, Republican, Independent, or whatever. If you want to know the topics that affect your everyday life, this should be right here, one of them. How are my kids are protected, as well as myself, but mainly my kids. So if you don't have anything to think about or what to vote for come November, this one better be at least number 1 or number 2 on your damn list. And who knows what else these months before November have in store for us. But what happened in the past month should be up there. So nobody don't have to say, well, I don't have nothing to vote for. You damn well do now. I don't care if you're affiliated with the Republicans or Democrats. You got something to vote for come November. And I promise you, you're going to have a whole hell of a lot more coming before November. A lot more. Trust me. This is just a tip of the damn iceberg. So for anybody who's sitting there saying, I don't got nothing to vote for, I'm not going to vote, I'm going to sit on out and all that stuff, you are part of the problem. And if they came up with a policy for people who just don't vote, I would be with it. Well, I'm a taxpayer. Well, paying taxes ain't enough. You got investors that even though they probably just invest $5, at least they still contribute to the quarter meetings and get the briefs and get the newsletters of their investments from the companies that they invest with, and still put their 2 cents up in there because guess what? They're a shareholder. You think they're going to listen to somebody and sit there and say if the freaking investment goes belly up and they haven't said anything, done anything, now all of a sudden they want their money back? Well, how you think that company is going to react to them? Being a taxpayer don't cut it. You got to pay taxes regardless. At least an investor can take his money out. You can't. So get out of your feelings. Get out of, I'm just going to mind my business and don't think something like this won't happen in your neck of the woods. And start being concerned what's been going outside your damn door and what's been going on in other states and all that stuff. Because that could happen to you. And if you're a congressman or woman not doing anything, like I said earlier in the show, you need to be making some calls, making some emails, and making some visits. And if they go unanswered, I guess you got something to vote for now, do you? Every children have a right to go to school without fear for their lives. 1, as well as the teachers and the staff. 2, my grandma, my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, my boy Billingsley, and his family have every right to go to the grocery store without fearing about losing their life. And everybody should care about that. Not just for your grandma, but for their grandma. Or as they call it in the South, their mimas. Their grandfathers. Their mothers. Daughters. Sisters. Sons. Don't just say just for you, but for every damn body. If you don't have a reason to go out and vote, guess what? I gave it to you. You're welcome. But like I said, there's still a lot more months before November, and this is only just the tip of the iceberg. November is coming, just like in the Game of Thrones, where they kept saying, winter's coming. This is that time. This is that moment. November's coming. Every congressman, every congresswoman, you are on notice. What you do in the next coming months before November depends if you stay in Congress or it's time for you to take that vacation that Ted Cruz did when his state needed him and go to Cancun. And with that, I yield the floor. Billingsley, it's been real. He's over here.
Cool, baby.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, what about my boys, the Mavericks? They went there early too. So yeah.
They had no choice.
Yeah, I know. Nah. Don't worry. I had a friend of mine who's a bandwagon fan, and you're gonna hate this, who says that he's a Lakers fan. He said I could be a Lakers fan and a Golden State fan. I was like, really, dude?
Oh, so you ain't an man. I mean, whatever.
So real quick.
Did he have a reason for that? Because I personally have a reason for that. Because you know, I like the Wizards and I like the Lakers. And this is the reason. During the 80s, right? The Wizards was known as the Bullets. And they really sucked. They sucked so badly. I mean, it was to the point that they were advertising about their opponents coming to play against the Bullets. Like, come see Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and all that. Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, how you going to advertise for the competition? And therefore, at that point, or a little bit before that, that's where I was like, hey, I'm with the Lakers. I'm with Showtime Lakers. I still got some love for y'all. But, hey, Showtime Lakers, that's what we rolling with. I've been a Lakers fan ever since. But it was like, I'll show the Wizards some love. But it's like,
but Lakers are your main team.
Yeah.
The Lakers are your main team. At least you can admit that because you're from the area. So
right.
But my boy, he's a so-called diehard Lakers fan, and he said the only reason why he had the Golden State jersey on is because of Durant. I'm like, dude, really? Yeah. So that's the look I had.
Listen. I love the Lakers, but I hate LeBron James. But I have to root for him because he's on the Lakers. Now, the moment he go ahead and get into his feelings and move somewhere else, I'll be super happy because I hate that guy. But I received that dub that he won, the chip that he won. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll take that. Even though it was in a bubble, but you still said, all right.
You're right. But he won you the championship. But I told him, I made fun of him. I was like, and then he showed me one of those little I've got those little dummies that Washington's famous for. That was a Durant and a Brooklyn jersey. I said, why don't you just go ahead and get a Brooklyn Nets jersey while you're at it?
Hey,
add to your collection.
They already said that Durant. They already said that basically Golden State cannot win without Draymond Green because he's an asshole. But regardless, it's a whole theory to that. That's something totally different. But at the same time, if the Warriors are going to win this whole thing, they better win on the road. Because if they don't,
yeah, because I told them because when they won finally won at home, and my boy, and we was actually at one of our friends' birthdays. It was a surprise birthday thing for him. He was sitting there saying, "Well, yeah, we won this one." And he kept coming at my girlfriend, and I told my girlfriend, I said, "He's a bandwagon," and she just torched his ass. She was like, "At least I know everybody on the team." Shit, how many people you know other than the Step? He was like, "Well," and she named everybody off of Boston. I said, "Dude, stop." I warned him. I said, "Dude, stop." Even his girlfriend was his fiance was trying to help him, and she was like, she was like, "No, he asked for it."
That exactly.
Yeah. I was like, dude.
At that point, I will say if I don't give you no advice, you don't receive no advice from me. At that point, you take this. When your girl is right and she catching a dude like that, all you do is just be like Method Man on How High with Redman. When he start going in on that dude, you be Method Man, be like, get him.
Yeah, that's basically what I was doing. I was like, dude, but I would tell him, I was like, dude, stop. And he kept he was taking the L, but it was just like he kept asking for more, and he knew that he was getting kicked. You know how like they say, I'm gonna knock you 6 feet on the ground. He was already 80 feet, and he was if he went like 10 more feet, he'd be in hell. And even the devil would be like, dude,
you can't even crawl out of that. You can't.
Right? It's like every single day looking, and then I just finally just like say, dude, because then he was talking about his Lakers. And I was like, dude, I want you to keep that same energy. I don't want to hear. Don't put on the Lakers jersey. I don't want you to hear anything about Lakers. I want you to keep that the Durant Golden State jersey on the next season. I want you to say nothing about the Lakers. Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. We're going to go to a bar, and they're going to be Lakers fans. And I'm going to be like, I said, oh, tell them about that Durant jersey that you got up in your closet. And now they are still salty about what happened with the Sonics, the Supersonics here. Wow. They're still salty. And they go cry, and they go. Cause my girlfriend is, she gonna kill me. She probably watch this. But here's the thing. They go probably go when I throw them out there like that. They probably gonna think, oh, it better be a Seattle Supersonics jersey. Oh no, Golden State, and they gonna be looking at him like. And he has on a shirt that says "Legends Forever." It had Kobe, LeBron, and Michael Jordan, embracing like this. And I said, "Dude, don't ever wear that shirt. Don't wear that in case." He said, "Man, why you gotta do that, man?" I said, "Dude, you're a bandwagon."
Yeah.
You're not. And then what's his fiance? She tried to help him out. Bless her heart. She said, "Well, it's not wrong with liking two different teams." I was like. Okay, but then you lose your opportunity to talk shit. You can't talk shit no more.
Sit. How they say? Sit your ass down like the rest of us and let this ride. That's all you do.
Sit or as Wesley Snipes says, sit your $5 ass down before I make change. That's basically what he should be doing right now. I was like, yeah, it's great when the bandwagon, when all of a sudden the wheels start to fall off, you jump on another one. You're not a fan. You're not a fan.
Yeah.
Because the fan goes through with their team through the good times and the bad times as us as Cowboys fans. We go through it.
That is my biggest loyalty with it's basically football. So it's the Cowboys or it's Crimson, which is Alabama. the Crimson
Yeah.
Tide, or
Like-
the Roll Tide, as they say all the time. But the
Right.
thing is, it is what it is. I don't go two ways with them cats because that's something totally different.
Right.
That's
You-
right
you-
here.
You never gonna see me root for, and then not to mention that is your biggest rival when it comes to California teams. Because then he said like the Sacramento Kings is the Lakers rival. So I'm like, no, when? Since Mike Bibby?
Are you
Mark
serious?
Weber?
Wait a minute. Hold up. Time out. The Sacramento Kings are
Yes.
the rivals. That's like
Yes.
saying the LA Clippers are the rivals of the Lakers.
Right.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
He be smoking weed and he don't tell y'all. That's what
Yeah.
it is. Man, no. Let's not blame that on weed. He's smoking crack because there's no way in hell you come up with two pieces of what do they call it of anything and rub them together and came up with a thought like that. Bitch, you crazy as hell.
I told us to do. Look, I told us to keep that same energy when the new season start because you are not a Lakers fan, and I'm
Yeah,
saying
them motherfuckers all talking about LeBron sitting out because he waiting on his son. Fuck that. No. Would Kobe wait? No, he wouldn't have waited.
Nope.
He would have kept it moving. Like,
Right.
whatever.
I told him, I said, if Kobe came back, if Kobe was still alive and he see you with the Golden State jersey on and you say you was a Lakers fan, he slapped you in the face. He was like, come on, man. There's no, I said he would have. And I wouldn't blame him. I know I got respect for Kobe when he came back and shut me up and won those 2 championships after Shaq. But he would have my absolute respect for anybody who sit there and say, I'm a Lakers fan, but you got on a Golden State jersey.
He'd have been like, you soft.
Right.
You soft.
Speaking of that, we go ahead and head on now. Billsley, it's been a
Sorry.
pleasure. I cannot wait till the next show. Hopefully, we have the whole entire cast in. But as for my boy Isaac Billsley, as well as myself, your host down there, Alamonte Morris, and also our sponsor, Cheddar Boy Popcorn.
Cheddar Boy!
And yes, sir. We want y'all to leave y'all comments if y'all have anything that you want to add to the conversation, or if you got a disagreement with us. We want you to comment after the show and tell us what you think. But until next Monday, we here at Hashtag Fade to Black control the narrative. May all y'all have a good one. Please be safe. Please be careful out there. We love each and every one of y'all. We mean it. Catch y'all later. Bye.
Yeah, I'm pippin', flippin', spittin' these lyrics. Got you feeling what I be saying like you caught the Holy Spirit now. I done went through some shit up in my past, but it fertilized my future. Now I'm harvesting my cash. I like 'em pretty, but they can't be hot, so did it. Talking like I'm gon' buy what you want, you think it's silly.